I have a comic. This is pretty much all this video is about. So, I have a comic now. It's only something simple, but it's also something fun. And I thought I'd make a video showing how I created the character for my comic and the overall simplistic style so that I can keep this comic going without it, going overboard, and making sure I can still do other projects in between. So that's pretty much what this video is about, how to stylize something in a way that's effective for the way it's going to be used. Like for this, it's a simple 4-panel comic, and this is the character design. I did base it off me because these is kind of like the thoughts that I have and all that type of thing. So we've pretty much just got a very simple character, one giant eyeball, because that is all you need in life, just a giant eyeball. And here I tried sketching out my character, and then when I had a rough idea of what I liked, I tried to pick out what emotions would, just have a real go with seeing how well I can express my character in emotion and proportion, especially with the one eye. I also based her clothing and hairstyle on a simple dress that I currently already have, and the fact that my hair's quite long, so I kept her hair quite long. And I like that because as much as I hate my long hair, I really, really want a hairdresser's to open up near me soon. I can use hair to emphasize more emotion, similar with the anger and other emotions. With this comic, I realized I didn't want to add a ton of color. I wanted it to be very simple. So I ended up just picking, I ended up keeping it more in black and white. And I feel like that works best for it. Maybe occasionally in the future I would do a panel in colour, but I like the simple dress that I have, and this is how I've come to a sketch to a final character that I'm making for my comic, which is here. Now for my comic I use a 4-panel comic, and I generate ideas in this little notebook I have. So for my comic ideas, I have this little notebook and I write down ideas, and then because I have 4 panels, I write down 4 simple steps that make sense to me and how I can portray the comic, and that's pretty much how my ideas are generated and kept. And this way I can go straight to the panel that I have laid out, which is a simple 4-panel comic, and I can just go to town with interpreting my notes and sketching out as many different ideas as I like until I find one that I do like. I do this for each individual panel. Now obviously this is a very simple comic compared to most that you would read, so it's what works for me right now, and I think that's a real big part of having a comic or starting a project, is that it has to work for you. It has to work with you. It can't work against you and your working process and what happens. So I really like how this turned out. I decided to go for a very laid back style when inking. And I find it's really cute and it brings out my character more. I can add detail, but due to the thickness of the pen and the type of ink pen that I'm using digitally, I know that if I go overboard in detail, it will look weird and overly complex. So it's good to keep it simple for me, and that's what I really like. But it still gives me enough room in the environment and in my character to obviously add characters. For example, adding paintings in the background, or adding like an extra piece of clothing like a painting apron to my character. Anything like that works out really well. And obviously this is going to be different for every single character or every single comic. I don't know if I'm going to put any new characters in this comic, but if you do want to see my comic, new pages every Wednesday on my website and on my Instagram. It's all neatly organised on my website, which has made me really happy, because when something is so nicely organised and in place, it's just, it's beautiful to look at and it makes me very happy. So the links for that will be in the description down below. as this current comic I am working on for you now is actually being uploaded the same day this video is. So by the time this video goes up and you're watching this, the comic will already be on my Instagram and my website. So go check it out, show me some love, give me your opinions, because that's the whole point of making something, is to get a reaction, preferably a positive one or something, but you know, criticism is always good when done correctly, on your work and improving yourself, because without improvement you can't really proceed. And that's something I've always found people get very scared of when critiquing art. Like certain comics I find some of them are amazing and I wish I could draw like that, or like emphasize a character. Comic I have similar to like Black Sad or Giant Days, and then there's just some comics that confuse the hell out of me. Although I do have one comic that confuses me, but it is in French, so that's probably why. But there are some comics that I've read that I don't understand their narrative or where they're going with it. And with a comic, that's kind of a real big thing you've got to try to improve and do well, so that your viewer knows what's going on, or so they can interpret it in a way that they understand. I think I've gone off the ball a bit here talking about this, but overall it all connects all together on what to put in a comic. I'm not an expert in like, I'm not an expert in comics or anything, but I have done a ton of research and quite a few classes, and I just love storytelling in general. But obviously this comic is just a starting point as a way to bring out my confidence in portraying narrative or story to people. As you've got to start somewhere, and considering I've just graduated university, although my graduation is kind of put on hold because of quarantine, so thanks for that. Corona, you've done me, I'm not sure if you've done me a favour or not. I have no idea. Everything is just whoa lately. But on to more positive things. I'm happy with this idea that I have created, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with the people that view it, and hopefully you guys, if you want to stay up to date with my comic. Because it's always good to start somewhere or start doing something. And there's so much time in quarantine, why not do it now? So now we've gone from prepping to sketching to inking, and now we've got our final comic, and you can go read more and stay updated on my website and my Instagram. The links will be in the description down below. I hope you enjoyed this video and me rambling about my process and kind of getting lost talking. I should have written a script, but nah.